What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another Connect Raleigh Member Spotlight. I am Chuck, and I'm here with my friend Trevor Morreall. How are you, buddy?
Doing great. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having a conversation with me. We've been, trying to schedule this for a minute or two, going through the holidays, and here we are. We finally made it. Are you as excited as I am?
I'm very excited. Yeah.
Good, I can tell. So what I want to do is I want to highlight you to the Connect Raleigh group and introduce you. And I know you're relatively new to town and learn a little bit more about you and just go from there. So why don't you start there? Tell us a little about who you are and where you're from.
Yeah. So my name's Trevor. I originally grew up in upstate New York, in a city called Binghamton. It's a little bit south
Yes.
of Syracuse,
Yeah. Have we
near.
talked about that? Because I'm from Watertown.
Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe a little bit. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right on.
So
Okay.
upstate represent.
Yep. That's right.
Um, but yeah, so and then I went to college out west. I went to college out in Utah at Utah Valley University. Met my wife as a summer camp counselor, who was also going to Utah Valley. And then we both graduated within the last couple of years and moved out to Raleigh. So I'm a Raleigh Durham area.
Yeah, so that's a big move from, well, you're zigzagging, right? Binghamton to Utah and then to Raleigh. How did you end up in Raleigh?
Yeah. So when I was my last couple of years in college, I was working for a company called Zag. It was more of a franchise of the company, but as a franchise, we could kind of move wherever we wanted to. And I was a communications undergraduate, but I've always been interested in business, and so I wanted to eventually pursue an MBA. And my wife and I, she's from Oregon, I'm from New York, so we could really go to like either coast. But we wanted to go somewhere that had more than one MBA option. Like if one place we really liked was Syracuse. So if we moved all the way back to upstate New York and then heaven forbid I didn't get into Syracuse, then it kind of felt like we were stuck. So and we wanted to move to an area that we really liked, and we scouted out the Raleigh Durham area with all the great business schools in the area. And I was coordinating with Zag to expand the franchise out there, and they're actually willing to do it. Um, and then just the logistics were kind of dicey, trying to find a good place to set up a store and everything. And then at the same time, my current company, Purple, which is based out of Utah, a recruiter reached out to me for like a inside sales position in Utah, and I was like, thanks, but no thanks. I'm moving to North Carolina to open a retail store. And then they were just kind of like, what part of North Carolina?
Wow.
And just kind of asked. And then it was the same life plan, the stars aligned, and it just seemed like a pretty good opportunity. So we ended up sticking with the same life plan, moving out here, and opened up a store for Purple.
Yeah, that seems like it was just the stars aligned and it was meant to be, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's cool. I know little about Purple. I know the name, right? I know
Mhm.
a little bit about very little bit about the company, but tell us more about that. Like tell us more about the company and the mission and what got you excited about being part of it.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things was I never thought I'd really be like selling mattresses or anything like that. But Purple's vision is about helping like improve people's lives through improved sleep. A lot of people joke like about how we spend a third of our lives asleep and such, and that's how we recharge our battery. And I know for me, whenever I've had a not so great night sleep, whether it's my attitude or just my attention span or anything like that, isn't quite as great the next day. And so that really caught my attention to where that was their big focus. Ironically, my younger sister actually works at their headquarters in the legal department. And so I reached out to her about her experiences at Purple, and she loved working at the company so far. And so I was like, yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I got involved with it. It's fun too because they're a little bit quirky. They make their mattresses out of this type of material. This is called
What
a
is that?
squishy. It's called a squishy, but the technical term is hyperelastic polymer. So
Squishy
it's kind
sounds
of
cool.
cool. Yeah, squishy is a lot easier. But yeah, so we hand these out all the time for like marketing stuff. And yeah, just little demos of the material. So rather than like springs or memory foam, that's like the majority of the mattress, the top layer. So but yeah, it's different. It's Purple's background's actually in medical devices, which I thought was cool for the research triangle. They started with more like burn beds, wheelchair cushions, like stuff like that, and then kind of transitioned more to consumer products.
Hmm.
So But yeah, so it's been a great opportunity. We're actually in the works with Duke athletics, passing these out at like a basketball game and stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's been fun. So that's part of the reason why I ended up joining Purple. So I just really like the vision and really like the product. It's a good product. There's seat cushions, pillows, all kinds of other good stuff that they make out of that. So
Nice. And what a, the stars aligning once again in that the Connect Raleigh podcast has an opening for a mattress sponsor. And I'm happily accepting mattresses sent to my house. I'll give you my address after this, and we'll work out that deal, right?
okay, sounds good.
I love
See what I
it.
can do.
So you moved to Raleigh, moved to a new area. When did you move here? How long has it been now?
So I moved here in July. The day we got here was July 4th.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I mean,
Yeah,
what is that? 7 months, 8 months? Somebody do the math for me, something like that.
about
So,
seven-ish, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
What's it been like connecting with new people and meeting new people? How have you, are you doing that okay? Or what's that been like for you?
Yeah, it's been really fun actually. So when I first got hired, the store was supposed to open in September. And so I was like, oh, cool, 2 months prepare for the store. That's great. And then we kind of had a lot of construction delays because the way that they kind of gutted out the old store at the South Point Mall, that's where our store is. Um, they kind of had to gut out some old stores and then completely build ours brand new. And so because of that, it was a long process. There was a ton of delays. We actually didn't even open until December. So I had a ton of time. Like I was already hired, I was already on their payroll. And so it was kind of like, well, like find something to do. Like, and I'm like, okay. So I worked with, at that time, I'd already hired a couple people to open their store. So I went with those people because one of the degrees or certificates I earned in college was more like outbound, like business to business sales and marketing. And so we came up with a plan to talk to apartment complexes throughout the triangle, just letting them know that we're here. If there's any ways that, if they're furnished apartment complexes, if there's any ways that we can improve their tenant experience by improving their mattresses, then we'd be happy to work with them on that. Or if they're unfurnished and they have people moving in from out of state like myself, um, we're happy to get the word out about Purple to help those people too. And we just got really good at doing that. Between our tiny little team of four, over the 3 months we did it, we contacted in person almost 400 apartment complexes, um, which was very crazy to think about. But we just drop off a bunch of these and then we give them more if needs be, so they could give these to people when they move in and stuff like that. So, but because of that, I've met a ton of people in the property management field. So heaven forbid something ever happens at Purple. That's a career route I could go. But
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Well, I love seeing how, making new relationships, just where it goes. You just never know, anybody you talk to today could turn into something really important, in a week or a month or a year or 10 years. And it's just fun to see how those dots connect when you look back. Now that you've been in Raleigh for a few months and business is getting going, what are some of your favorite things to do? And so two questions: what are some of your favorite things to do in the area outside of work? And then also, who are you looking to connect with through this video, through this podcast episode, through our LinkedIn group, Connect Raleigh? So two questions there.
Yeah. For the first part, I've always been a big sports guy. So moving to
You're in a
this
good area
area,
for that.
obviously. Yeah, that was one of the big perks. It wasn't the reason we moved here, but it was definitely a big perk. But I still try to tell my in-laws that that's not the reason why I moved here. But yeah, I love sports. It's been great. I mentioned we got here on the 4th of July. The first thing we did, we couldn't move into our apartment yet or our townhouse yet. So we went to the Durham Bulls baseball game on 4th of July. That was awesome. I think we probably went 5 or 6 times during the season. Yeah, I've gone to Duke events. I've also gone to UNC events, still kind of undecided on my fandom. I know it's a big deal in this area. And then there's state too. I still need to go to a state event, state game.
Yeah, but Syracuse is in there too. So you can just stay a Syracuse fan.
It's true. Yeah, I do have some orange blood in me still. So but yeah, it just kind of depends. It was cool actually. UVU, my alma mater, randomly played Wake Forest this year in basketball in North Carolina. So we
Wow.
actually got to drive out and go to that game. So
Cool.
but yeah, I love Yeah, I love sports. My wife's definitely an outdoorsy person, so I've become more outdoorsy. So in terms of hiking and stuff. So um, but yeah, and then just getting to know different people within the group. Like if there's any ways that I can help, whether it's their business or just get to know people in the area in different industries. I've loved learning about it. I've loved learning more about how property management works in terms of how larger places, like I know there's like Bell Partners and there's a couple other property management places that every time we went to an apartment, it was like, yeah, we're part of Bell, or oh, we're part of like this group. I'm like, wow, these guys are huge. So learning how big that can get and also how small it can be too. And then also just like with our contacts with like that I've met through setting things up with Duke to pass these out at their games, learning how they kind of do their things too. I didn't know that they have a separate company that does their entire marketing process, which I thought was kind of wild. It's not even affiliated with the school; it's just a completely different company. So, but yeah, so just learning about different industries. I've met others in industries like there's a contact of mine is renovating a hotel in the Asheville area. And he's gonna make it a more pristine hotel. So he was asking me about purple mattresses and how that can enhance his like guest experience there. Um, all kinds of different people from different industries, and there's a lot more that I realized with purple and with sleeping that connects to so many other industries too, which I think has been one of my favorite parts to learn. So just like learning about other people's industries, meeting new people too with similar interests with sports and stuff. I've seen like the Drive Shack events that you guys do. I'm absolutely terrible with golf. I know
Great.
baseball
Let's play for money.
yeah, I know baseball players usually translate pretty well to golf. I was a pitcher growing up, and so I couldn't even hit a baseball, let alone a golf ball. So,
Yeah. I've
but
got, so here's the thing about our Drive Shack events that we have. We have at least one every single month, starting to work towards hopefully two or three. But I promise you, it's not about the golf. Like if you think about this, we've got two bays where we're networking, and we've got 6 to 10 people in each bay. And at any one time, there's only one person that's hitting a golf ball, and you're only hitting about 2 or 3 at a time because people's turns come up. The whole rest of the time, well, one, nobody's really paying attention to you and your swing unless it's so bad or so good. So maybe people will pay attention.
yeah, I'll be
But
on
for the
this.
most part, everybody's networking, they're eating, they're drinking, they're getting to know each other. The golf part is it's kind of secondary. It's an icebreaker. It's a way to get people together. We can have a little bit of fun with it, and we play some different games. But I promise you, the majority of the people that come there are not golfers, and it's really just about having a good time and connecting. So don't let that hold you back. You or anybody that's listening, come to the Drive Shack event and just have a good time.
Yeah,
That was my
for
platform
sure.
for that, but now you go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's I've gone to similar. I've done like Top Golf a couple times. I made a fool out of myself, so it's been good. But but yeah, that's really what it's been about for me. Is just like completely new area. My wife and I, we only really knew one person when we moved here. And that was a connection from like the summer camp that we worked at like 4 years ago. He just so happened to be a grad student at UNC. So that was really the only other person that we knew prior to moving here. And it's been good to be able to meet so many different people and then continuing to meet people too. So
Well, good. Well, I think Raleigh, the whole surrounding triangle area, I say Raleigh a lot, but I refer to the whole area is, I found it to be a very welcoming place. It's a very supportive place. There's a lot of people here cheering each other on and rooting each other on. I feel like, a rising tide lifts all boats. And so I think at least the network I've been surrounded with, it's a great group of people that want to see everybody win. And so I think by plugging into this networking group, by doing this video and this call here today, hopefully you're able to connect with a lot of people that feel the same. And so if people are watching or they're listening to us and they want to learn more about Purple, or they want to go grab a basketball game with you, or they just want to get to know you better, because again, this is all about building relationships and connections. What's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you?
yeah, I'm a huge fan of LinkedIn. I see a ton of value in LinkedIn for multiple reasons. So I'm on that all the time. Like even at the store, like when I'm on the sales floor, like on our iPad, like I still have LinkedIn pulled up on the tab and stuff. So that's definitely the easiest way to get to me. I check that as much as I check my text messages. Um, So yeah, I would say that's probably the easiest way if you're ever at the South Point Mall over in like the South Durham area. We're at the mall on the first floor, right across from Bath and Body Works. That's like the landmark that I use because I know like that's where my wife usually goes. So, um, but yeah, like if you're ever at the mall too, feel free to pop in, grab a couple of these. These are free. Um, I'm happy to meet anybody that's over in that area too. Or if there's any other ways that people want to get to know me or get to know more about Purple, feel free to reach out that way or through LinkedIn.
All right, man. I love it. And yes, we're very, very heavy on the LinkedIn. We're all in there. We great community there, the Connect Raleigh group. So for anybody that's listening outside of LinkedIn, if you're not yet on LinkedIn, do yourself a favor, jump on there, join Connect Raleigh, connect with other people here locally, like Trevor and others, and get out there and build some relationships, meet some new people, which in turn will grow businesses. It always does. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me for a little bit and tell us about you and your business and where you're from. I've really enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you at Drive Shack really soon so I can check out that swing of yours.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It'll look very baseball-like and not a good baseball swing.
Even better. Well, you can just throw the ball. You're a pitcher.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, buddy. Have a great day.
Yeah, you as well.